Welcome back. We are now seeing gold, silver, cryptos, and many stocks hitting new all-time record highs, but the question remains, is now the time to buy? Well, Hedgie or Hedgeye says do not chase silver and gold at all-time record highs. In today's video, we're going to be exploring not just silver and gold, although that's going to be a large portion of this video, where the cycle is, where the prices are, and where they're going. But we're also going to explore Ethereum, Solana, some of the Bitcoin mining companies, and more importantly, understand where we are in the cycle and how we can make money, because that's the point of being in the markets, is to make money in the market. So sometimes you have to buy, sometimes you have to sell, sometimes you have to sit back and do nothing, and sometimes you have to take in the environment and understand where we are in the cycle, where we're going in the cycle, and more importantly, how you can make money in the cycle. Make sure you guys are subscribed to this channel. We upload every single day to bring you the latest happening in the financial world. Also, do me a favor, give the video a free thumbs up. You can also become a channel member by clicking the join button down below to learn more about channel membership right here as we upload every single day. But other than that, at least give the video a thumbs up. Let's get into today's video. The top is in, sell it all now, or should you buy it all and buy Bitcoin, gold, and silver? Let's get into it. So what's really important before we get into the the gold and silver conversation is really to understand what else is going on, right? We've been talking about these Bitcoin mining companies that have also pivoted to AI: Hive, Bitfarms, Bitdeer, Iris Energy, Iron, Cipher Mining, TerraWolf. We've been talking about all of them. But here's the deal, guys. Like, when you're talking about these any category, whether it's tech, whether it's Bitcoin mining, whether it's AI infrastructure, all of the stocks, okay, unless there's very few situations, but there will be situations where they are decoupled from everything, and they're either going straight up or straight down, and there's no stopping them. But now that we've taken a little bit of a breather, right? This is Iron, one of the Bitcoin mining companies that pivoted to AI, got massive partnerships and deals and contracts with some of the big companies like Google and Microsoft. But what you can see is that we had this major run to the top, right? A buy the rumor, sell the news event about them getting massive investments. It went up 12x in just a few months, right? And then we've taken a massive dip since that top, down about 53, 55%, and we've recovered a little bit. But this recovery area is creating the environment where the bulls are bullish and the bears are bearish, and there's very few that are changing their thesis or capitulating to one end or the other. And this is the same thing that I think is going on in silver and gold. We're going to get into that a little bit deeper in a few minutes, but just to kind of show you how there's cycles to these things. We are now hearing from Matt Siegel, who is the head of research for digital assets over at VanEck, one of the financial institutions. He said that Hive, Bitfarms, and Bitdeer got downgrades after the bell by KBW. The analysts are lowering their numbers for all the Bitcoin miners. The general theme for Hive is scaling. They're scaling, but they're unprofitable. Bitfarms, their current valuation prices in one AI deal which doesn't materialize until the second half of 2026, and Bitdeer has a lack of clarity in their AI strategy and governance. And so these are all downgrades. Now, the only one that I would question, but here's the deal, I'm not against these downgrades. I'm not even against the prices going down. I've been saying for a while that I believe that we're going to see a massive drawdown in the AI sector, in AI-related stocks like these infrastructure plays, as well as crypto, right? All the crypto stocks are coming down. Some never went up, by the way. I mean, if you look at Coinbase like barely performed from a stock perspective this cycle. It's been very, very underwhelming. Just to give you guys an example and show you, Coinbase has been basically almost sideways trading for the last couple of years. I mean, we've had a little bit of peaks and valleys, but even from this low to the top, it was 180% from $419 to $150, right? And that was in 2024 into 2025. So not even at the crux of the bull market, but that's neither here nor there, right? I do believe that Bitfarms is going lower, much lower. I don't know that it needs a downgrade, especially if we're talking about the 1 year time horizon. But definitely in the next few months, we are definitely going in the first half of 2026, we're going to see downward moves, probably across all the Bitcoin mining companies and all AI infrastructure plays. It may be a slow grind, it may be a harsh downward trend, but the point is, what do we have to look forward to? Do we need to buy these dips? Do we need to buy these downtrends? Because here's the deal. When the prices are going higher, a lot of people want to jump in and buy. We look at it on this channel and we say, do we need to sell? Do we need to short? Do we need to bet against the price continuing to go up? And then when the price is going down, we look at these companies, these stocks, these cryptos, and we say, do we need to buy these when they hit a floor? When they hit prices that are too irresistible, do we buy? For instance, in the middle of 2025, Bitfarms double bottomed. And I posted this on my YouTube community tab. It was in, I think, August of 2025. I posted the double bottom pattern. You can't really see it on this chart, but you can go to my YouTube page and click on the posts tab and you'll see that post there. But when we call the double bottom, Bitfarms was at about 68 to 70 cents. This was all multi-year lows, a lot of exciting stuff happening in the AI space. And sure enough, the double bottom, I was correct. We went from about 68, 70 cents to about $6. So about an 8 or 9x in just that amount of time. And so do I believe that if Bitfarms goes back to $1 or below $1, that this is a buy opportunity, especially if it happens in the first half of 2026 and buying for the second half of 2026 or into 2027? And the answer would be yes. But I don't know that the same goes for silver and gold. And that brings us into our next topic, which is what is happening with silver and gold. And so I'm going to play this video for you. You guys know we've been covering this over the last few weeks. Silver has gone effectively over the last year from the $20 and $30 range all the way up to the over $100 range, all-time record highs for the silver price, highest it's ever been, parabolic, banana zone. Gold is similar, although it's not moving to the extent that silver is. But at this point, right now, you're starting to see the mainstream and Wall Street talking about silver, right? You're having the everyday person talking about silver. Somebody saying, oh, well, my grandpa used to give me some silver coins and I may still have them in my closet. I got to go look for them and see how much I can get for these. And then they go to the store to cash them out and they're like, you know what, I'm going to hold on to these for another few years. They're going to double in price again. It's like you've been holding it your entire life and it's gone up like 4 or 5x. That's it. Well, that's not bad. I would say that the rate of inflation has outpaced the price of silver going up, right? And so there's a lot of people who are saying that silver and gold are going to maintain at these levels. And that may be possible, and that may be what happens. But very rarely do you see moves to the upside with this kind of strength and breadth in a very short period of time, so much so that it looks like banana zone like this. And for us not to get a correction and a corrective phase and a drawdown, and then potentially a rally back to that point to then create the new floor for the price. But are we there? Is that where we're at in the cycle? Well, Hedgie TV talked about silver and gold, and I thought this was a very interesting clip to play because it's pretty blunt. Let's listen in.
This is what it is, okay? You're either there or you're not. If you're trying to buy them now, then you're fucked. I mean, that's basically a very technical term for that, because you're just chasing, and I don't chase. The best things you can do is sell some when they're up, and most importantly, do not sell some below your minimum on, again, your minimum asset allocation, a position that would be consequential if it still keeps doing what it's doing. So there's no better example than keeping minimum positions in anything that ticks today across the metals. But again, this is largely augmented by a big breakdown in the dollar. So are our EM longs. Theme number 3 on the macro theme, pretty straightforward. It says long gold, metals, and EM. So again, it's not just what gold and silver are doing. Of course, emerging markets are absolutely crushing, you know, things like the NASDAQ, which we got out of.
But the point is, he's saying, don't chase, right? It's the same thing that we see in crypto. People are chasing Bitfarms. People are chasing iron. People are chasing Bitcoin. They're like, we heard it the whole cycle. I mean, I've covered this in some interviews that we've covered on this channel from some of the large Bitcoin maximalists, right? They're like, well, but in the last cycle, we were supposed to be here based on this cycle. And it's like, yeah, but we're in this cycle. We're not in the last cycle. Granted, you could use the cycle movements for some guidance as to where the prices are going to go. But to say in the last cycle, we went up 10x, so why are we not going up 10x this cycle? It's like, well, they're different cycles, right? And so this is where in silver and gold, a lot of people, I would say that this market is probably a lot different because these assets are not new. They've been around for a long time. Everybody has a family member that told them, when they were younger, oh, here's a silver coin. You're going to be rich when you're older. And you're still not rich. I mean, even at the current prices, you're still not rich, right? For one gold bar or one silver bar. So this is really important. This user on X, a Rajat Soni, certified financial analyst, 135,000 followers. He said, you're not early to silver. Now, he retweeted this post. And by the way, I don't know if this post is satirical or not. I think it is. But it says, I'm sitting on 1,000 ounces of silver bars. Bought physical, did what everyone says to do. Real assets outside the system. When everything collapses, you'll be glad you had it. He said, trying to sell some last week. Trying to sell it today. Refineries won't touch it. Dealers are lowballing under spot 30%. Banks look at me like I'm selling contraband. Turns out owning something and being able to exit something are two very different skills. This is the same trap I see in trading. People hold positions they can't exit, stocks with no volume, options with no buyers, sitting on value that only exists on paper. Supply and demand lesson learned. And I would agree. Here's the deal, guys. To sell silver or gold, it's not as easy as selling Bitcoin or Ethereum. That's the bottom line. That's clear. I would say even some stocks is not as easy to sell as Bitcoin and Ethereum. Bitcoin and Ethereum are probably in the realm of the most liquid markets on the planet. And, gold, silver, they're not. They're somewhat liquid, but they're not 100% liquid. And you have to find a buyer. Crypto, you do have to find a buyer, but there's a lot more buyers than there are in these other assets. So Rajat Soni said this. He said, you're not early to silver. Retail investors are going to get trapped. There are already reports of people selling their silver and having to take a 30% loss on the sale compared to the spot price. And again, why is that? Well, if I'm a dealer and you're selling me something and I have to go sell it after you, right? And we're already at all-time record highs. If we're at $100 price, and I give you $100 and then I go sell it for $100, I didn't make any money. And so the dealers are going to say, okay, I'll give you $70 or $80, and then I'm going to go sell it for $100 or $90 and still be able to make a profit. Rajat says, if silver goes to $300, I wouldn't be surprised if the spread is as high as 50% from certain dealers. If you subtract the spread, that's a 40% gain from here, not 180%. That's important to understand as well, that the spot price doesn't necessarily indicate the price that people are getting for their silver. And that may be also pushing the price higher. So, something to keep in mind. Eric Balkunis, who's an ETF analyst over at Bloomberg, he said, so SLV, which is a silver ETF, ended up trading $40 billion worth of shares in one day. Think around the 25th or 26th of January. To put that into perspective, that's more than it traded in all of Q1 of last year. January through March of 2025 was $35 billion of volume total, right? They did $40 billion in one day. Options volume also in the stratosphere. It's already done $1.5 billion in pre-market right before the market even opened, which is 3 times more than any other ETF, 5 times more than Tesla and NVIDIA. Again, this reminds him of GameStop in how this is even possibleness. And so effectively, he's saying these kind of flows that you're seeing into the SLV ETF are unheard of. The volumes are significant and also unheard of. And these are typically top signals, right? Because this has to be sustained. And if it's not sustained, typically when you see this kind of volume coming in, it's the same thing that happened in crypto, guys. Same thing in the middle of 2025 when all the Bitcoin treasury companies were popping up. They were literally raising the flag saying, we have your cash. If you come with Bitcoin, we will give you cash. Hundreds of millions or billions of dollars in cash. And you know what the whale said? Okay, we'll take it. We'll take it. A lot of people didn't believe this in crypto, right? I mean, even on my channel in the middle of 2025, I'm like, guys, the whales are selling. I think there's a poll on my YouTube community tab, go to youtube.com/the Cryptoviser, and then click on the posts tab and scroll down. I think I even had a poll, and it said in, I don't know, September of 2025, are the whales selling their coins? And most people were like, no, Cryptoviser, they're not selling their coins. And it's like, clearly they are. They're taking the exit liquidity. And so when the dealers see this liquidity in the market, they take it, right? Now, obviously, we're talking about SLV, which doesn't necessarily trade actual silver. And maybe it does, I don't know. But this is what the traders and the dealers are doing behind the scenes. They're definitely selling to people who are buying. And who's buying? It's not them. They're not buying more at all-time record highs. They're selling. So who's buying? You. You're buying. Maybe not you specifically, but you guys kind of get it. Walter Bloomberg on X said, the silver frenzy. Silver's rally drove nearly $40 billion in trading volume in iTrust, the one that we just talked about, SLV, rivaling the S&P 500 and NVIDIA. Silver has more than doubled in 2025 and is up 60% just in January of 2026. It's the biggest gain since 1979. Gold and mining stocks are rising too, but thin liquidity suggests speculation is driving the surge, increasing the risk of a sharp reversal. And I would agree, because once you hit the top, there's only one direction after that, and it's lower. Same thing in Bitcoin. Bitcoin hit 130,000, then we went to 110,000, then it went to 100,000, then it went to 90,000, 80,000, and people were still saying, Cryptoviser, you're wrong, we're going to new all-time highs. And I'm like, no, we're actually going lower, because we already hit the top. We already knew we hit the top. The Bitcoin halving tracker showed us we hit the top. We hit the top. So there's only one direction, it's down. So everybody who says that we're going to new all-time highs, they're 100% wrong, 100% of the time until the next cycle. And then we have Jim Cramer. Jim Cramer said, silver can be sold, your silver. Gold, do not let go. Effectively, he's saying, sell your silver, hold your gold. Whether people are doing that or they're looking at it as a reverse Cramer index situation where whatever Jim Cramer says, you do the opposite and then you make money. Listen, I don't know. What I can say is Jim Cramer has been wrong about a lot of things. But more recently, I feel like he's become more correct in some of his analysis that we've covered right here on the channel with the AI bubble, with some of the Bitcoin and crypto stuff, and now with the gold and silver. A lot of people are going to just sleep on it and say, no, it's Jim Cramer, do the opposite of what he says. And I think they're going to lose, right? Again, we're at all-time record highs. Why would you buy at all-time record highs? The goal is to buy low, sell high. So you wait until we get lower. And then we have Highcroft mining, which we've also covered on this channel as well. By the way, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and also hit the subscribe button. That way you never miss a new video. Now, we've covered Highcroft mining on other silver videos more recently, but Highcroft mining, the owner of a non-operational gold and silver mine in northern Nevada, has seen its shares soar more than 380% over the past few months as precious metal prices have climbed to record highs. So we have this company called Highcroft Mining, HYMC, on the stock market. They're non-operational, meaning they're not mining, okay? They're not mining gold or silver. And their price has gone from $2 1 year ago all the way up to $50. It actually went to $58 at the high. So it's gone up 23 or 24x, 2,400% in 1 year. And people are like, oh no, there's no Cryptoviser. We are not at the top of the market. What are you talking about, Cryptoviser? This is a great company that mines gold and silver. Oh wait, they don't? So what does this company do? Well, the company price of the stock keeps going higher. Is this a short opportunity? Well, once we do actually hit the top of silver, which I don't know whether we have or have not, but I think that's an easy short opportunity. I don't see how it's not. I mean, they don't make any money. You can see that very clearly here on their earnings report. They're not making money. And so for this stock to be worth $4 billion, and it's just based on the speculation of people looking for these mining companies, the drawdown is going to be epic. Epic. I don't know how epic, and I don't know how quick the epicness is going to happen, but it is going to be epic. I mean, if this went to $100, I would probably short with my entire account on leverage. But, of course, that's risky. So make sure you guys do your own research. And that brings us to Ethereum and Solana. So Ethereum digital asset treasury SharpLink, digital asset treasury company SharpLink, their CEO says that Solana has been fast and cheap, but it has not been secure. It has had downtime. Let's listen to what he says here.
Solana has been fast and cheap, but it has not been secure. It has had downtime. And I think what you're going to end up seeing, and you're seeing it now, is the real institutions who care only about three things: trust, security, and liquidity. They're building on Ethereum for high value projects where you're talking about moving money, tokenizing assets, representing ownership. It's happening on Ethereum. More than 65% of stable coins and tokenized assets are happening there. 10x what you see on Solana.
Now, here's the deal. This is very similar to what we're seeing with silver and what we're probably going to continue to see with silver, where the dealers are going to say that it's we have a very large shortage. It's very hard to, get our hands on silver. This is why the price is going up. Same thing is happening with Ethereum and DATs with Ethereum. At the end of the day, there's no, the banks are not going to use Solana or Ethereum. And the banks are moving us and the whole financial ecosystem towards stable coins, not towards Bitcoin, not even towards DeFi. Their DeFi is going to be the JP Morgan chain. So yes, Ethereum may be 10x faster, have 10x more building on it, or 10x more deployment. But in 5 or 10 years from now, the banks are going to have all of that. And I don't even think Ethereum is going to have it. What are these Ethereum digital asset treasury companies doing to solidify Ethereum's stake in the world of TradFi and DeFi and finance in general? I don't know that any of them are doing anything. The same way that the Bitcoin treasury companies, they're just buying Bitcoin and then saying, oh, we're going to all be rich. And the stocks are down 99%. And so this is where we have to separate the fundamentals from where the charts are. The fundamentals from a bubble, the fundamentals from a top forming in the markets. Because one hiccup, one cold that these markets catch, and it could just be NVIDIA, it could be the bond market, it could be because of the Federal Reserve, just one thing could crater all the markets simultaneously. And there's going to be a lot of people who make a lot of money on that downtrend. And there's going to be a lot of people who lose a lot of money. And so we want to make sure that we're capitalizing on the downside and on the upside. That way we win regardless. Let me know what you guys think about silver, gold, Bitfarms, Highcroft Mining, and also Ethereum and Solana. I'll see you guys on the next video. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys on the next one.